It looked like they were voluntarily going through this torture. Supreme Leader Vexara's clear tentacles twitched in shock as he watched the surveillance footage. "Yes, sir," replied his intelligence officer, their mandibles clicking nervously. "They call it boot camp, and this isn't even the hardcore version." The footage showed dozens of humans crawling through mud under razor wire while explosions went off around them. Some primitive instructor with a projectile weapon was yelling at them in what the xenologists called creative profanity. Vexara hummed. "Interesting. This is what they do. Just for fun?" "Not really, sir. This is their basic training for the military. The very least." "At least?" The Supreme Leader's bioluminescent spots flickered in a way that was like a laugh for his species. "Our intelligence told us that people were weak and spent their days watching TV and arguing on their global information network about pictures of small animals." "Yes, that is also true, sir." "How does that math work?" "No, sir. That's why they're so dangerous." It took 3 solar cycles for Supreme Leader Vexara to fully grasp what his spy had been trying to say. The attack on Earth had gone horribly wrong, and now he was in his own command center, face to face with one of these Marines. The person was smiling. Vexara didn't like that smile at all. This is what the Marine said, leaning against the wall and holding a crude chemical propellant weapon. "I hear you guys thought we were soft?" "A regrettable mistake," Vexara admitted. "What's funny about that?" The Marine went on, checking something on his gun with the ease of his practiced routine. "On Earth, people think of us as the complicated ones. Why the Russians? They're crazy now. Also, don't even talk about the Australians." Vexara's translator must have been broken because the person looked like thinking back. In the middle of an attack at work? Know what I mean? The Marine went on, making it sound like they were having a nice chat over what people call coffee. That some of our guys were complaining that the first orbital bombardment wasn't as bad as their last training round? It seemed easier than the time with Gunny Rodriguez in 29 Palms. The spots on the Supreme Leader turned a sickly green color. "You train while being hit by space junk?" "What?" "No," the Marine said with a laugh. "We only have really creative drill instructors and a thing we call money limits. It forces us to be creative, you know?" This disturbing information got to Vexara before she could process it. The human's communication device clicked into action. A voice called out, "Yo, Carter! Are you done with the surrender talks yet? The boys found their cafeteria. Their food synthesizers can make something that tastes just like crayons, they said." It's likely that Carter was the Marine who rolled his eyes. "See what I mean about Marines being the complicated ones?" "That's Davis's team. They're special." "You eat writing implements?" Vexara asked, his universal translator struggling with the concept. "It's a long story," Carter shrugged. "But hey, about that surrender?" "We should probably wrap this up before Davis's team figures out how to turn your antimatter reactor into a barbecue grill." Again. Vexara's spots were now cycling through colors faster than a malfunctioning holo display. "Yeah, 3rd time this week. Look, how about we make this easy? You surrender, we don't tell the Australians where your backup fleet is hiding, and everyone goes home happy. Well, except maybe Davis's team. They're really enjoying this whole invasion thing. Something about it being better than their last mandatory fun day." The Supreme Leader activated his command console with a tentacle that was definitely not trembling. "Sending surrender codes now, please. Just keep the Australians away." "Smart choice." Carter nodded approvingly. "Oh, and one more thing. Our intel says you guys have been watching our global information network? The one with all the cat videos?" Vexara bobbed what passed for his head in acknowledgement. "Yeah, well, next time you're thinking about invading someone, Maybe check out some videos of our military training instead of just watching TikTok. Could have saved you some trouble. The Marine paused thoughtfully. Though I gotta admit, those cat videos are pretty good. As Vixara watched the human casually stroll out of his former command center, he made a mental note to update the Galactic database's entry on Earth. Under threat level, he would simply write, yes. And under additional notes, do not under any circumstances provoke the ones called Australians 6 hours later aboard the formerly Vexarian, now repurposed vessel, USS. That's what she said. Davis's team had voting rights on the name. Carter was filing his after-action report when the ship's AI chimed in. Sir, you might want to see this. The AI, which had been reprogrammed to sound like Samuel L. Jackson. Again, Davis's team announced. Carter looked up at the main screen to see a video feed from what appeared to be the ship's primary recreation deck. Somehow, in the span of less than a day, his fellow Marines had 1. Converted the zero-gravity chamber into what they were calling extreme space dodgeball. 2. Taught the ship's maintenance robots to play beer pong with motor oil. 3. Started a betting pool on who could eat the most alien MREs without requiring medical attention. 4. And somehow, Carter rubbed his eyes in disbelief, turned the quantum probability drive into a makeshift mechanical bull. Should I intervene, sir? The AI asked, managing to sound both amused and concerned. No. Carter sighed, reaching for his coffee mug. As long as they're not, yee-haw. The distinctive voice of Private First Class Davis echoed through the ship's comm system. Hey guys, if you attach the plasma conduits to the artificial gravity generators, you can make the bull spin in 4 dimensions. Carter slowly put his head down on the console. On second thought, yeah, maybe send a corpseman down there. And get me command on the line. They're gonna want to hear how we accidentally invented 4 dimensions. The AI was silent for a moment before asking, Sir, should I also inform command about the incident with the Xenomorphology Lab's specimen containers? You mean the impromptu alien jellyfish volleyball tournament? No, sir, the other incident, where Private Davis discovered that some of the specimens react to human country music by changing colors and rhythm. Carter couldn't help but grin. Oh yeah, definitely include that. And make sure to mention how Sergeant Wilson is teaching them to flash in time to Sweet Home Alabama. As he watched the chaos unfold on the monitors, Carter couldn't help but think that maybe, just maybe, the aliens had been right to surrender when they did. Not because of humanity's superior technology or tactical prowess, but because there was simply no defense against the special brand of chaos that was aboard Marine with access to alien technology. Somewhere in the background, he could hear Davis's voice again. Hey guys, who wants to see if we can teach these alien dance robots to do the Macarena? Carter reached for the ship's intercom. Some things require direct intervention. Davis, the last time you tried to reprogram alien robots, they ended up doing the chicken dance for 6 hours straight. Exactly, came the enthusiastic reply. But this time we're going to add lasers. Just another day in the United States Marine Corps Spatial Edition. At least they hadn't found the teleporters yet. Sir? The AI interrupted his thoughts. About those teleporters. Carter reached for the bottle of aspirin he'd started keeping in his pocket. It was going to be a long deployment. Carter didn't even wait for the AI to finish. They found them, didn't they? Found them, sir? They've improved them. The word improved coming from an AI that had been reprogrammed by Marines was never a good sign. Carter was already moving before he finished his thought. Define improved. Well, sir, they discovered that by cross-linking the quantum entanglement matrices with the ship's coffee makers. They did what with my coffee? They've managed to create what they're calling Instant Door-Galactic Edition. Carter rounded the corner to the ship's main teleportation bay and froze. Where there had once been a pristine alien teleportation chamber, There was now what looked like a cross between a food court, a science experiment gone wrong, and what he strongly suspected was a still. In the center of it all stood Davis, wearing what appeared to be a modified hazmat suit with Space Door Dash crudely painted on the back. "Oh, hey sir," Davis beamed. "You're just in time. We just figured out how to teleport to that Australian garrison on Mars. Turns out they've got this amazing beer they've been brewing in one of the hydroponics bays and—" "Davis," Carter interrupted, trying very hard to maintain his composure. "Please tell me you haven't been using highly advanced alien teleportation technology to run an interplanetary delivery service for bootleg booze." "Of course not, sir." Davis looked offended. "We're also delivering tacos. Turns out the British contingent on Europa is desperate for decent Mexican food." "And the Gurkha regiment on Titan? They've been trading authentic curry recipes for our contraband hot Cheetos." Carter pinched the bridge of his nose. "And the coffee makers?" "Oh, that was Specialist Nguyen's idea. See, we needed more power for the long-range jumps, and she figured out that the quantum harmonic resonance of properly brewed coffee is exactly the right frequency to—" "Sir?" the AI interrupted. "Incoming transmission from the Australian Mars base." A holographic screen materialized, showing a grinning Australian sergeant with a magnificent mustache. "G'day, mates. That last shipment of tacos was bonza, but we've got a bit of a situation here. Remember those alien pets we liberated from the Vexarian biolabs?" Carter had a sudden terrible feeling about where this was going. Turns out they breed like rabbits when exposed to country music. Don't suppose your boys could pop over and help us round up about— "Oh, 300 glowing space kangaroos." Davis's face lit up. Davis's face. "Space rodeo!" "No!" Carter shouted, but it was too late. Half the Marines in the room were already suiting up. "Don't worry, sir," Davis said, strapping what looked suspiciously like a modified alien energy lasso to his belt. "We've been practicing with the four-dimensional bull, remember? How different can space kangaroos be?" But before Carter could explain exactly how different radioactive marsupials were from mechanical bulls, another transmission cut in. "This is the Lunar Defense Force," a stern voice announced. "Our sensors are detecting unusual quantum signatures near your position. Please explain why our AI is reporting." And I quote, "Yeehaw signatures coming from Mars." Carter looked at the chaos around him. Marines preparing for an impromptu space rodeo, an interplanetary smuggling ring based on tacos and beer, and what he was pretty sure was the beginning of a fast food Cold War between various human military outposts in the solar system. "Sir," he addressed the lunar commander with all the dignity he could muster. "I can explain everything." "Can you, though?" the AI muttered in Samuel L. Jackson's voice. "No," Carter admitted. "But I can offer you some really good tacos." There was a long pause from the lunar command. "How good are we talking?" And that, kids, is how the Great Solar System Food Delivery Service War began. Some say you can still hear the echoes of Davis's yeehaw bouncing between dimensions, usually followed by the sound of something expensive breaking and Carter reaching for his aspirin. The Vexarians, watching from their refugee fleet, updated their database one final time. Threat level: absolutely yes. Additional notes: they have somehow weaponized food delivery. Galaxy, help us all. Back on the ship, Carter watched as his Marines prepared to teleport to Mars for what would surely be the most ridiculous rescue operation in human military history. "Sir," the AI asked, "should I inform command about this?" Carter considered it for a moment. "Tell them." He paused, watching Davis attempt to explain the concept of lassoing to a very confused alien maintenance robot. "Tell them we're conducting advanced cross-species cultural exchange exercises." "And the space kangaroos?" Tactical marsupial acquisition training. The AI made a sound suspiciously like a snicker. Very good, sir. Oh, and Private Davis wanted me to inform you that they've also discovered the alien cloning facility. Carter didn't even blink. They're making backup tacos, aren't they? Actually, sir, they're attempting to clone Chuck Titan. For the first time in his career, Carter found himself at a complete loss for words. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear the opening notes of Sweet Home Alabama being played on what sounded like quantum strings. It was going to be a very, very long deployment. Sir? The AI added helpfully. Would you like me to queue up, save a horse, ride a space cowboy on the ship's speakers? Carter reached for his aspirin bottle, found it empty, and sighed. Hit it, Samuel, and prep the teleporter. If we're doing this, we're doing it with style. After all, he thought as he watched his Marines prepare to rodeo radioactive marsupials, what's the worst that could happen? The AI wisely chose not to answer that question. The thing about Marines, Carter had learned over the years, was that they operated on their own special brand of logic. It was a logic that somehow made "hold my beer and watch this" into a viable tactical strategy, and turned "that sounds like a terrible idea" into challenge accepted. Which was why he wasn't entirely surprised when, 3 hours into Operation Space Kangaroo, Davis had insisted on the name. He received the following situation report. Good news and bad news, sir. Specialist Nguyen's voice crackled over the quantum comm. Good news is we've successfully rounded up most of the space kangaroos. Bad news is, well, turns out they can teleport. Carter slowly lowered his coffee mug. They can what now? Remember how we were using the coffee makers to boost the teleporter signals? Apparently some of the quantum resonance leaked into their genetic structure and... Davis is trying to catch one using a rodeo lasso made of quantum-entangled energy fields. In the background, Carter could clearly hear several distinct sounds. 1. Davis yelling "Yeehaw" in what appeared to be multiple dimensions simultaneously. 2. The distinctive boop of teleporting marsupials. 3. What he strongly suspected was Cotton Eye Joe being played on alien musical instruments. 4. And the unmistakable sound of Australian soldiers placing bets. Sir, the AI chimed in, you might want to know that the Gurkhas on Titan have started taking bets too. They're offering 3-to-1 odds on Davis actually managing to ride one. Of course they are, Carter muttered. Any other updates I should know about? Well, the AI seemed to hesitate, which was never a good sign from a quantum computer that spoke like Samuel L. Jackson. The clone of Chuck Titan is coming along nicely, but there seems to have been a slight mix-up with the genetic sequences. What kind of mix-up? They accidentally combined his DNA with some of the alien biotechnology. The current clone appears to be capable of roundhouse kicking in 4 dimensions. Carter took a long moment to process this information. Is that even physically possible? Sir, with all due respect, I don't think physics wants anything to do with this situation anymore. Just then, Nguyen's voice came back over the comm. Sir, Davis has actually done it. He's riding one of the... Oh no. Oh no, what? The kangaroo just teleported with him still on it. And, it seems to have taken the quantum-entangled coffee maker with them. Carter closed his eyes and counted to 10. When he opened them, the situation had not, unfortunately, turned out to be a caffeine-deprived hallucination. Current location? According to our sensors, somewhere between Mars and Jupiter. Also, possibly last Tuesday. The quantum readings are a bit confused. The AI helpfully displayed a map showing Davis's probable locations, which looked less like a tactical display and more like someone had sneezed stars across space-time. Sir? The AI added. The Australians are organizing a rescue party. They're calling it Operation Save Private Davis's stupid ass. Of course they are. And let me guess, they're bringing beer? Technically, sir, they're bringing quantum-enhanced space beer. Apparently, they've been experimenting with their own teleporter brewery combinations. Carter reached for his aspirin before remembering he was out. Any other surprises I should know about? As if on cue, a new transmission cut in. This is the Russian lunar base. We couldn't help but notice you're having some technical difficulties. Perhaps you would be interested in trading some of our specially distilled quantum vodka for assistance. We have experience with similar incidents. Similar incidents? Carter couldn't help but ask. Duh. Last month, one of our cosmonauts tried to teach Bear to use jetpack. Was very exciting. Bear is now somewhere near Venus, sending back surprisingly good poetry. But before Carter could process that particular piece of information, another voice joined the channel. British European base here. Terribly sorry to interrupt, but we've been tracking some rather unusual quantum signatures near Saturn's rings. Appears to be your Private Davis, attempting to teach a group of teleporting kangaroos to play cricket. Rather poor form, if you ask me, but point for creativity. Carter looked at his empty coffee mug, then at the chaos unfolding across the solar system, and made a command decision. AI, send out a general broadcast. I am officially declaring this situation a... What's the opposite of a court-martial? A court... awesome? The AI suggested. Close enough. All Allied Space Forces are hereby invited to participate in what we're going to call Advanced Interspecies Athletic Cross-Training. That should keep Command happy. And someone please get me some coffee that hasn't been quantum-enhanced. Sir, the AI said with what could only be described as digital glee, you should know that Private Davis just managed to organize the first ever interdimensional space rodeo championship. The Australians are providing the kangaroos. The Russians are bringing their quantum vodka. The British are handling the commentary. And the Gurkhas, well, they're just bringing cameras because, and I quote, this is too good to miss. Carter sighed. And the clone of Chuck Titan? Currently teaching a class on multidimensional martial arts to a very enthusiastic group of alien maintenance robots. They've mastered the quantum roundhouse kick, but are struggling with the concept of beard growth. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear the distinctive sound of space-time being gently encouraged to ignore the laws of physics in favor of what Davis would probably call the rule of cool. Sir, the AI added incoming transmission from Davis, put him on hay. Sir Davis's voice was accompanied by what sounded suspiciously like quantum kangaroo hiccups. Quick question, if we teach these kangaroos to play football, do you think we could start an interplanetary league? The Australians are already working on zero-gravity goalposts, and the Russians say their space bear can be the mascot. Carter looked at his empty coffee mug one more time, and made another command decision. Davis? Yes, sir. Make it soccer instead. Less equipment to teleport across dimensions. Awesome. Oh, and sir? The Chuck Titan clone says he wants to be the referee. Says something about being able to see all possible fouls simultaneously across the quantum probability spectrum. Just another day in the United States Space Marine Corps, where the impossible was probable. The improbable was guaranteed. And somewhere, somehow, Private Davis was probably already planning the first ever Quantum World Cup. Heaven help the galaxy, or at least send more aspirin. As it turned out, Carter didn't have to wait long for the other shoe to drop. Or, in this case, the other genetically modified, quantum-enhanced, possibly time-traveling shoe. Sir? The AI announced with what could only be described as resigned amusement. You remember how we were worried about Davis finding the dinosaur section? Carter didn't look up from his paperwork. What did he do? Well, the good news is he hasn't actually created any dinosaurs yet. I'm noting your emphasis on the word yet. Yes, sir. The less good news is that he and Nguyen have discovered something potentially more concerning in the genetic archives. Carter finally looked up. More concerning than dinosaurs? They found the tardigrade DNA samples. For a moment, there was complete silence in the command center. Even the quantum probability field seemed to hold their breath. "Please," Carter said slowly. "Tell me they haven't combined tardigrade DNA with the quantum-enhanced kangaroos while using the Chuck Titan clone's quantum roundhouse kick energy as a catalyst. The AI somehow managed to sound both professional and deeply amused." "I'm afraid that's exactly what they've done, sir." Carter reached for his newly restocked aspirin bottle. "And the result?" "We now have a small army of virtually indestructible, dimension-hopping, roundhouse-kicking space kangaroos that can survive in the vacuum of space. The Australians are calling them the True Blue Immortal Hop Force." "Of course they are." Carter pinched the bridge of his nose. "Current location?" "That's complicated, sir. According to our sensors, they're simultaneously terrorizing a Vexarian patrol fleet near Neptune, playing soccer on Venus, and, apparently, organizing a proper tea party on Titan with the British contingent." "A tea party?" "Yes, sir. Apparently, the quantum enhancement gave them a peculiar appreciation for Earl Grey. The British are delighted. They're calling it the most sophisticated military operation in human history." But before Carter could formulate a response to that particular development, multiple alerts started flashing across the command screens. "Sir," the AI announced, "we're getting transmissions from, well, everyone." The screens lit up one by one. "Russian lunar base here. Space Bear Poet has made contact with Kangaroo Tea Party. Is now composing quantum haiku. Very moving. Much metaphysical significance. British Europa Station reporting. The kangaroos have somehow combined our tea protocols with their quantum abilities. We now have Earl Grey that can be tasted across multiple dimensions simultaneously, requesting permission to classify this as a military breakthrough. Australian Mars base checking in. You beauty! The kangaroos have started teaching our regular kangaroos their quantum tricks. We've got a proper marsupial space force forming up here. Gurkha Titan Outpost reporting. Our curry now exists in a quantum superposition of spiciness levels. Each bite is an adventure through the space-time continuum of heat. Also, kangaroos make excellent sous chefs." Davis's voice cut through the chaos. "Sir, you're not going to believe this, but the Chuck Titan clone just taught the kangaroos how to redirect asteroid trajectories using nothing but their quantum roundhouse kicks. We're calling it the KICK system, Kangaroo-Initiated Cosmic Kinetics." Carter looked at his empty coffee mug, then at the aspirin bottle, then back at the screen showing what appeared to be the beginning of either humanity's most ridiculous military force or its most successful interplanetary circus. "AI," he said finally. "How do you think I should phrase this in my report to command? May I suggest? Successfully implemented innovative cross-species training program resulting in unprecedented advances in quantum physics, xenobiology, and tea brewing techniques. And the kangaroos? Acquired and enhanced indigenous Australian tactical assets for specialized space warfare operations. What about the tea parties? Established crucial diplomatic relations with multiple species through cultural exchange programs." Carter nodded slowly. "And Davis? Demonstrated exceptional initiative in utilizing available resources for unconventional problem-solving? Perfect. Though I suspect Command might have some questions about..." He was interrupted by a new alert from the AI. "Sir, the Vexarians are requesting a formal audience. Apparently, they've received a quantum tea party invitation from the kangaroos and would like to know the proper protocol for interdimensional social events." Carter stared at the message for a long moment before making yet another command decision. "Tell them to bring snacks, preferably something that pairs well with Earl Grey across multiple dimensions." He paused, and remind Davis that if he tries to teach the Vexarians the quantum roundhouse kick, he's on space latrine duty for a month. Too late, sir. The Chuck Titan clone already started an interdimensional dojo. The Vexarians are particularly good at the quantum spin kick. Apparently their tentacles give them excellent balance. Just then, Davis's voice crackled over the comm again. Sir, quick question. If we teach the space bear quantum poetry while it's riding a quantum kangaroo during a roundhouse kick, do you think we could create the galaxy's first multi-dimensional slam poetry tournament? Carter looked at his aspirin bottle, looked at the chaos unfolding across the solar system, and made one final command decision. Only if the Gurkhas handle the catering and the British handle the scoring system. After all, he thought as he watched a group of quantum kangaroos practice their roundhouse kicks under the guidance of a four-dimensional Chuck Titan clone, while a Russian space bear composed haiku about the metaphysical significance of tea, some days you just had to embrace the absurdity. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear Davis starting to explain the rules of quantum slam poetry to a very interested group of Vexarian diplomats. The galaxy would never be the same. To be continued. Because Davis just discovered the alien genetic archives labeled platypus. And honestly, what could possibly go wrong?